Okay, so this video I wanted to shoot real quick and we'll see how it goes. I don't have a script or anything. I just finished a book yesterday morning, Taylor Caldwell's Captains and the Kings. It is a long book. It's 700 pages and you can see it is not, it uses every page of every part of that page to tell the story. It took me 2 years to finish, and that's mostly because I would read it for a couple of weeks and then find something else that I'd rather be reading and then go back to it. And it's kind of interesting. I've been reading some reviews after I finished it and I've been thinking about it, and I wanted to reflect on what it has to say because it's a story of someone who came to the United States after seeing what the potato famine did to his family and vowed that he would, through whatever means necessary, become the boot in his new home. And his cognitive dissonance about that plays into it, but mostly it's a tragedy about someone whose quest for power blinds him to seeing that he needs to let his family do what it is they want to do with their lives, and that becomes his ultimate undoing. It's interesting in that regard because that is something that we can generally relate to today. It's all couched in this really preposterous conspiracy theory that claims that there's an Illuminati level group of international bankers who are controlling all the world's economy and all the world's political power. And it was started by Karl Marx, who Marx and Engels were not just a couple of guys who came up with a controversial idea. They were, in fact, a plotting couple of individuals who started this vast conspiracy. Even that sounds like it could make for a good story, but it's so silly and there's no real evidence to back it up. And the book emphasizes over and over again, this might be a work of fiction, but this conspiracy is very real and you need to take it seriously. And I feel like that really takes away from the things that this book gets right. It is definitely a metaphor for the Kennedys and how they saw their political dynasty. I don't want to say crumble, but suffer. And I don't know. It's cool. Okay, sorry. I had to kind of collect my thoughts there. What I think is kind of interesting about this book is the way it's written. It's a very slow read, and it's like a Tarkovsky movie. It really gets into detail and wants you to really take time to appreciate and consider everything. That's not a writing style that is very popular in 2024 for obvious reasons, but it's neat to see a book like that because it's not something that I've read a lot of before. And to that end, I don't think this is something everyone needs to read, but I do think that if you like critiquing literature, it's a good one to check out. And I wanted to finish up with a quote from the book that I just thought was interesting, because some of the ideas in here are more pertinent now than they were when it was written, or at least just as pertinent. And if you come across a copy, this is a first edition, by the way, and you can tell it's seen better days, and that's just, long books. If you take a lot longer to read a book, it's going to be in backpacks and get carried around a lot more, and it's going to get beat up. That's just the way the world works. But anyway, if you find one that's been highlighted on page 608, that was my copy that I used for this video. A politician, as we know, who serves the people, really serves them, out of conviction and idealism, is eventually despised by them as a naive imbecile, but a scoundrel of color who can invent a few deadly aphorisms of his own and can laugh and twinkle and joke, gets their adoration, and even if he is later exposed for what he is, a thief, a time server, a liar, the public becomes hysterical at the attacks on him. In fact, the public will attack the outraged attackers of their darling. So, I think that kind of describes a certain political situation. But I also think there's people who think the opposite of me, who probably see that describing an opposite political situation. And to be completely honest, I don't totally disagree with them. If this sounds like an interesting book, I'm going to be tossing it in a little free library, and maybe you can find it. It's out of print now, so I'm sure used copies are not terribly expensive, but all right. Thanks.